We're off balance. We're more yin than yang. Now, the ideal balance between performance marketing and brand building has been studied and boiled down to a simple formula. A marketer should be spending 60% of their budget on long-term brand building and 40% on short-term performance marketing. So why doesn't everyone just do that? Well, therein lies the rub, because right now, the equation is almost completely upside down. Marketers are spending 65% of their budgets on the short term, leaving only 35% for long-term brand building. And the effect is predictable: a measurable decline in marketing effectiveness over time. So, what's the solution? Surely it's as simple as rebalancing the books, moving money from one side of the ledger to the other. Well, not really. One thing is very clear. Very few marketers will reduce their performance media budgets in favor of long-term brand building. They can't. As certain as death and taxes is the fact that Google must be paid, Amazon must be paid, the shopping cart on their website must be optimized. That money is spent, and it would take a Herculean strength of will for a CMO to turn to her board and declare that they are going to take a third of their predictable performance marketing budget and allocate it to the intangible business of building the brand. So, if they can't spend more on brand building, can they make their brand building more efficient? Well, yes and no. Let's start with the negative. No, they can't make their traditional brand building efforts more efficient. In fact, the modern media marketplace is conspiring to make those efforts materially less efficient. As media audiences are getting smaller, the cost to reach those audiences using traditional brand building techniques like advertising and sponsorship is getting much higher. In fact, brands are being squeezed between the costs of performance marketing on one hand and the costs of traditional brand building approaches on the other. And then again, yes, there are brands that have been able to make their brand building more efficient, that have managed to thread the needle between long-term brand building and short-term performance. The same dozen years that witnessed the decline in marketing effectiveness for traditional brands saw the emergence of a new crop of mainly direct-to-consumer brands that built their businesses in very different ways, with different expectations and different operating models. Many of the brands developed in those years are changing the way we shop. Often they're changing the way we live. Brands like Glossier, Warby Parker, and Casper are promising to make us more beautiful, to see better, and to sleep better. Others like Uber, Airbnb, and Tesla are redefining our consumer infrastructure. We move around cities now differently than we did 10 years ago. We vacation differently. We get our groceries and we plan our meals differently. We fuel our cars differently. We take these brands completely for granted now. They are part of our lives, like American Airlines and Walmart have been for decades, and yet few of these modern brands are more than a dozen years old. In that short amount of time, these companies haven't just built large and successful businesses, they have built powerful and evocative brands that we trust, that we like, that we admire, and often that we aspire to own. The categories they compete in are wildly different, but there are real commonalities in the way they approach business and brand building. First among them is that these companies were the first generation of digitally native marketers. They grew up in a digital environment and weren't hampered by the legacy of traditional marketing. So they intuitively mastered the performance marketing that the digital realm offered. And they spent much of their marketing budget on it. But they still managed to build distinctive and engaging brands. They just did it without relying on traditional marketing techniques, particularly the kind of broadcast-based advertising that most traditional consumer brands have anchored their marketing efforts with for the past 70 years. Instead, they built their brands in new ways using new tools and new techniques. And those techniques can be boiled down to two simple principles of modern marketing. Be true to yourself and get people talking. The first principle creates a powerful alchemy.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.